This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, and the real star of today's show is a group of guys whose names you probably already know. Guys like Denny Hamlin, Will Power, Oriol Servia, Alex Gurney, and Patrick Long, along with a total of 26 total pro race car drivers who are going to be taking place in the 2016 iRacing Pro Race of Champions. The race, which believe it or not is now in its 6th year and was run a couple of weeks ago, it actually was run at Phoenix International Raceway, running the DW12 for 50 laps of caution-free racing. I did say caution-free racing, and we're going to get back to that point in just a minute, but anytime I hear about 26 pro racers all taking part in a simulated race, I get very excited. But in this case, it was even cooler. 9 of the 26 drivers were actually going to be running out of CXC Simulations, and their headquarters unofficially became iRacing West for the day. Now, I showed up there about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 hours before the event, and much to my surprise, all of the pros were already there. They were already in their sims, getting practice and ready for this event. Of the pros racing out of CXC, we had Townsend, Oriol Servia, Tommy Kendall, Patrick Long, Sam Schmidt, Alex Gurney, Matt Halliday, Michael Lewis, and Mitchell DeJong. All of the drivers who are running out of CXC were going to be running in full motion simulators, a handful of them on giant triple screen application, and then a few of them running on Oculus setups as well. All of these drivers also had a webcam that was hooked up to RaceSpot. These guys at RaceSpot were going to be televising the race or broadcasting it on the internet live, and they're going to have access to all of these webcams, all of these drivers at CXC live during the event. As I mentioned, with hours to go before the race, all of the drivers were diligently running their sims. They were searching for speed. They were getting used to their equipment, and you could tell that they were taking it very seriously because there was very little chit-chat going on. They were all completely zoned in, focused on the job at hand and the work that they had to do in just a couple of hours coming up. Now, the setup or the layout of the land at CXC was very cool. You had a few of the drivers running side by side in a few locations of the building. Out in the shop where the sims are built and tested, you had Alex Gurney running with a giant triple screen Motion Pro 2 simulator, and he was right next to Townsend and Michael Lewis, who were both running in the Oculus versions of the sim. Slightly down the row of sims to their right were Patrick Long and Oriol Servia, each in their own triple screen setups. The inside of the showroom, a stone's throw away, you had 4 more racers. In one corner of the room, you had Mitchell DeJong racing on an Oculus-equipped Motion Pro sim. To his immediate right was Matt Halliday in a triple screen sim, and then to his right was Tommy Kendall, again in a triple screen rig. And behind these guys was Sam Schmidt, a former Indycar driver who was paralyzed in an accident. He's a current Indycar team owner, and he was there in his sim equipped with head tracking, where you could turn his head left to turn the wheel left, turn his head right to turn the wheel right, and he had an air tube that allowed him to blow for gas pedal or suck for brake pedal, and he could just keep constant pressure in order to keep it right about there. I'm sure it takes some tuning, but he spent hours and hours getting it dialed in, and he was doing pretty well in the sim. In addition to the driving areas, you also had a spectator area, a room set up with a big TV with a live feed of the broadcast from RaceSpot where you could watch live, or you could run around the building watching any of the drivers one by one. In addition to that, they had an interview room set up for after the race for all the drivers to go on the RaceSpot broadcast and be interviewed, give their thoughts of the race. Now, after qualifying, you had Kyle Larson sitting on the pole with a 19.924. And he was followed by Denny Hamlin and Michael Lewis, the top qualifier of the CXC group. Soon after qualifying, it was time for the race. Now, before we get to the race, I want to mention once again, it was a caution-free race, meaning no yellow flags. And that's a tough decision, because when you think about it, you got cars going full speed, running into other wrecks. Now, on the other hand, if the organizers had chose to go with cautions, we might not see a green flag of racing at all during the entire event. So it's a decision they had to make, and they went with caution-free, and historically, you never know how that's going to turn out. So when the race did go green, you had Kyle Larson on the pole, and he got off to a great start.
Pace car is off. Let's get this show finally on the road. Green flag in the air, and here we go.
Lap 1, mile 1 and 50 into the works, and it's a battle for third. 3-1 in contact. Denny Hamlin gonna go high into the outside fence. Evasive action, looks like everybody's able to get through behind him, one of the fastest drivers already with
But at the same time, there were multiple crashes that would change the face of the race and set the tone for the event. At the front, Denny Hamlin got up high and made contact. That sent him spinning, and Michael Lewis took over second as the caution-free race went on. There were lots of crashes, with most of them being the drivers plowing into crashes from behind since there were no flags being thrown. While the race was going on, you had the CXC staff and friends watching the race spot broadcast from the viewing room as they watched this mayhem unfold. For the viewing audience, a rare opportunity to see the handful of drivers out of CXC with live webcams going out to the world as they raced. Sam Schmidt, running on his adapted sim, was able to avoid these wrecks with a quick change in air pressure and a quick tilt of the head. But he too would find problems out there as the drivers were constantly avoiding wrecks or getting caught up in them. By the halfway point of the race, it was clear we had a three-man race, and it was down to Kyle Larson, Michael Lewis, and Mitchell de Jong, with Michael and Mitchell both running out of CXC. On lap 30, we had a big moment. De Jong had caught up to Lewis and was able to make a clean, strong pass down low and take over second place. Immediately following, Dan Clark and Lewis got into each other, and Michael was up into the wall and had a badly damaged car from that point forward. What happened there, Michael?
Yeah, the first wreck, this was going 2 by 2 and got squeezed in the wall, and the second one was my bad. I just basically tagged the guy, so I got sent into the inside. But anyway, it's been fun so far. Let's try to finish it off strong.
Now, from a spectator's perspective, being there at CXC, this was a one-of-a-kind event. Getting to see these pro racers with their game faces on, taking it ever so seriously because you had the ultimate currency on the line, bragging rights, and you could tell they were all business during the race. And with 10 laps to go, Larson was still out front by over 3 seconds, having led from the drop of the green flag. Mitchell de Jong was still in second after the pass on Michael Lewis, and now Chase Briscoe was in third, nearly 5 seconds back. And then all sorts of crazy went on.
And all this sim racing, if they were to top it off, one of their drivers,
right in front of them
top
again.
it off potentially one of their drivers, as Carl Larson is out of the motor race.
Just at the point that I was making is that issues in front of him. He did a great job of avoiding an incident there, but he just lost the race lead to Mitchell de Jong.
Lap 47, de Jong hits the wall, damages his car. Kyle Larson then tries to swing around the crowd walking de Jong, and then clips him with Larson spinning off into the wall. By the time things sorted out, the race was nearly over, and it was Chase Briscoe out front and bringing home the win.
It's been a crazy 10 laps, but Chase Briscoe will win the iRacing Pro Race of Champions.
De Jong was clinging on, but held on to second place, and the very lucky Timmy Hill brought it home in third after a very crazy race. Not bad. How'd it go, Mitchell?
We started and avoided some crashes and got through the field and found our way up right behind Kyle, and then got around in one lap after getting through some traffic, and I think with 3 to go I got wrecked by a lapper, so still finished second, but you know, it's all good. It was a fun event.
So is the name of the game accident avoidance?
For sure. It was definitely definitely a lot of avoiding. Hard to tell what was even going on because the crashes happened so fast in this series. So.
After the race, the guys that raced out of CXC also went to the interview room to talk with the guys at Race Spot about the race. And then one after one, they started sharing stories of the race with each other.
One podium. Probably the most competitive series.
They were watching the replays, trying to see what had happened to them, or in many cases, what had gone so wrong. Watching these guys talking with each other was a real pleasure. It was as though they were getting to do something they rarely get to do in real life. They were just sharing stories with each other in the lowest pressure of settings that a pro racer is going to find. No big media, no sponsors to contend with, just them being them.
Anyway, so how did you do?
I mean, I had fun. It was what I think we all knew was going to be. It's a crazy configuration. I think already Phoenix, the way it is for IndyCar, it's crazy in real life, and in a sim, it just gives too much room for idiotic behavior. And we all know we can have a decent amount of that. So the race was a crash fest. I think whoever finished 7th was 3 laps down. You know, it was just too many crashes, hard to avoid crashes, but a lot of fun. It's great to have so many racers from different series going at it, and you can tell, I didn't know, like guys from the NASCAR land were so much into iRacing, like Hamlin or Larson. They're both.
I thought Hamlin was pretty good as far as qualifying.
I had all my money in Hamlin. When we were practicing earlier in the afternoon, I thought he was the strongest, not only the fastest in one lap, but I could tell he's smart out on track, so I thought he was going to be able to get himself out of trouble. But I haven't seen the replay, but I think he got with someone at the start of the race. So it just tells you, like, it was so easy to make a mistake.
You run real life racing, and I've seen race Porsches several times at this point. But you're a pretty avid sim racer. Were you surprised by the level of competition?
No, I mean, I knew it'd be strong. The first time, let's say, I jumped into a sim race, I underestimated, what it was about, and I can tell you from that experience, I have forever changed my mind on it, because these guys and girls are good. So to be on top of your game, you gotta have the practice, you gotta put in the time, and it's just like the real thing. So I respect this world. I respect those who are fast, and try to learn off of them. So we were strong here, and I was learning as much as I could from all the cool people here in the building, and just applied it to do some pretty good laps out there. But
I'd really like to thank iRacing for putting on such a cool event year after year that brings out some really cool racing by pro racers. I also want to thank the guys at Race Spot TV for doing a terrific job on the broadcast and incorporating all of these webcams. It was a first and a look into the future of what sim racing might look like in the years to come. Awesome job, guys. I also want to thank Chris Considine and the guys at CXC Simulation for hosting iRacing West. And I'd like to thank the pro racers who competed in this event. It's great to see such a big list of names having fun with sim racing just like we do. So I hope you've enjoyed this look at the iRacing Pro Race of Champions from the inside. Now I'm already looking forward to next year's race, and I had a great time watching this one. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.
I used to watch your dad race. Just kick everybody's ass in. It was amazing.
It wasn't F1 track, I mean to say, but
to hear all of those cars go around, the S's and coming around all the NASCARs with those motors back then, it was just, the ground was shaking.
Yeah.
It was so good.
The S's and
the Can-Ams, Trans Ams. I've seen everything there. The Rex Mays 300.
We actually have the Rex Mays winner back at AR. We have that car, restored it.
Right.
Sitting in our showroom.
Right. You had a really great car at AR a while ago. I'm trying to think. Oh, it was a Delta Wing.
Oh yeah, Delta Wing. Yeah.
I really wanted it. I think I've seen it in person now, but.
Yeah. That was a strange one, but it was cool.